Hi everybody, I'm Josh Constine with TechCrunch TV, and we're here backstage at TechCrunch Disrupt San Francisco, and we've got the co-founders of Lyft, John Zimmer and Logan Green. Thank you guys for coming out.
Thanks for having us.
So I've been a long-time Lyft user. What are some of your favorite kooky features that you see your drivers giving in their experience for their passengers?
My favorite Lyft is the Cookie Wars Lyft. So there's a guy who bakes 2 batches of cookies every night and A/B tests them throughout the day. So every passenger tries, if they want, tries both types of cookies and votes on which one they like best. And whichever one wins, he bakes a competitor to that one the next day and keeps going and keeps iterating until he finds the ultimate cookie.
That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's different in a Lyft. I actually enjoy taking them sometimes more than an Uber or a taxi because they're really gracious about helping me charge my phone. They've got water, gum, things like that. But how do you scale that experience long term? Like, how do you make sure that it's not just 1 in a million Lyft drivers or 1 in 10,000 Lyft drivers that are providing that Cookie Wars experience, and that it's always unique?
Yeah.
Yeah, we simply suggested it to new drivers on the platform. We give examples and we say, here are some things that others are doing, and it's really kind of part of the ethos and kind of core values of the Lyft community, and it's scaled incredibly well. We have Los Angeles, we have new experiences that people have created there. San Diego, it just keeps growing as we go to new markets. Indianapolis, someone has a Colts Lyft and things like that. So it has been growing, and we wondered that at the beginning, would it scale? And it has. Everyone's unique. Everyone has an interesting personality, and when you give them a chance to spread that, they like doing it.
I'll admit though, I think I see fewer of those really innovative and special Lyfts than I used to, and I get occasionally a surly driver, someone who's just sort of clearly just doing it for the money, trying to get by, and aren't really doing it for the love of their community. But then, that's okay. Then again, I haven't ever seen a Lyft driver. Another car service, I had a driver ask if I wanted a shot of whiskey in the car, and he literally sold me a shot of whiskey for a $5 donation, and it was actually really awesome. And apparently legal because you can drink alcohol in taxis supposedly, but it was definitely a little bit of a strange experience for me. So it was a little bit of a dangerous behavior as well. So that brings me to my next question of what happens when what if there's an accident? What if somebody dies in a Lyft? How will you guys handle that?
Yeah, I think when we got into the transportation space, we knew there were risks inherent to transportation. And the platform that we want to build covers all the empty seats on our roads, and so there will be accidents, there will be unfortunate events, and we want to do everything we can to that point to prevent that from happening. So we have driving record checks, and we look.
I mean, I've heard a lot about prevention. I want to know what happens after the fact.
You talk to the community. First of all, you listen and you figure out what happened. You talk to, and you figure out the police reports. You look at, talk to anyone involved in the incident, and then you kind of step back and say, is there anything more that we could have done in that situation?
So you guys are expanding rapidly right now, but all of the cities you're moving into are places that Uber already exists. Is that your strategy? Is it just to go take the biggest markets available, which might be already served by other car services, or are you guys going to look to avoid Uber in certain places? Are you guys going to go international?
Yes.
Yeah. So so Uber had roughly a 3-year head start. So they're in a lot of major cities in the U.S. and a few more internationally. I think pretty soon you're going to start to see Lyft catch up and start launching cities in the U.S. Where Uber hasn't launched yet.
And so do you feel your company is a car service, or is it like a transportation logistics company?
I'd say it's an information network for rides and seats. And like I said, just on stage, is that what we're doing today is just the beginning of what we want to do, and the vision of what we have is how do we create a network that connects people who have an empty seat in their car right now with someone who needs a ride right now.
Right. So when after we completed our millionth ride, we took a step and we looked back at those million rides, and one of the really interesting stats we found was that 66,000 rides out of those million rides, the driver and passenger had a friend in common. And that was just by chance. We didn't do anything to help make that happen. And so we're looking at all of this social data and looking for opportunities to make each of these experiences more delightful by matching up people who have friends in common, who have work things in common, interests in common, so that we can create that experience every time.
And so if there's a driver at the end of the day and they're trying to decide between being a driver for UberX or Sidecar or you guys, what's your like closer statement? Like how do you get people on board?
I think one thing that's unique about Lyft is that the majority of the time the passenger gets in the front seat, treats the driver like an equal, and it's a more social, fun experience. I think the other services offer different types of experiences for both the driver and passenger, and there are people that may want one or the other. But I think in the sense of feeling part of the experience and being social is unique to Lyft.
So the feature request I hear most often from people who ride Lyft is they want like a quiet ride button. Something they can just sort of subtly tell the driver like, hey, I'm like been really stressed out, I got a long day ahead of me or something. I just want to just ride and relax. I don't want to make small talk or chill or even fist bump. Like, is that something you guys would ever offer?
We've heard that request as well, and what we've seen people do sort of over time is just communicate with the driver and say, tell the driver, hey, I'm exhausted after this day of work. I've just got to sit here quietly, or I've got to go through some emails. So it's happening, but through communication, not necessarily through a button in the app.
Well, if your Lyft serves whiskey, then maybe everyone will want to be chatty with their drivers. All right. Well, to wrap it up, let me get a fist bump from the original fist bumpers.
Boom.
Cheers.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for coming today.
Thanks.